So you got a new deck of tarot cards, or you are thinking about buying one for yourself or someone that you care about, or maybe Santa brought you something special under the tree and you're wondering, what do I do with this deck now? Welcome to my channel. My name is Patty Becker and I am happy to share with you a few very common but important questions about tarot cards and how to connect with them both intuitively and on intellectual level. There is something really special about connecting with your tarot cards through ritual and even ceremony, because when you are working with your cards, you're building a very personal relationship with your deck. The first thing I would like you to do if you have a new deck or if you have a deck you want to work with is to celebrate each other. And that celebration can be really simple. You can look through all of your cards and say hello and see which one right now really speaks to you. Maybe set it aside, put it on your altar. See if there is any other message that's coming from this card for you later on. You can also smudge your tarot cards. This is something I do before all of my readings, and in between readings, especially, as sage has a wonderful way of removing energies. Pretty much we are kind of like removing spiritual fingerprints from the previous reading and a reader. And so sage is a really fantastic way to make that simple connection. And this doesn't have to be done every single time, especially if you're running late and you're trying to pull a card for your daily reading and this whole ritual thing seems to be out of place and out of time. But every once in a while, please say hello to your cards, give them a nice smudging bath, put them around and place some like a nice crystal on top. Just give them attention and they will work with you so good. You can charge your deck if you would like to bring on some more wisdom and information. So there are some really interesting crystals out there that you can use for charging your decks. The most common one, of course, is clear quartz, which has wonderful benefits. It's amazing for clearing your deck, energizing it, bringing on information. Another one that is very beneficial is selenite. Selenite is almost like a charging battery for everything else, and it in itself doesn't really need cleansing because it is self-cleansing crystal. I do clean my selenite every once in a while because it simply collects dust, but you can use it around your decks all day long. You can use little pebbles or a whole block of selenite and place your deck on it. It will definitely remove any impurities and anything that you don't want around your next reading. You can also make a really beautiful bag for your cards. This is another way to honor this relationship, and you can create, something out of a pretty fabric, or maybe you have some leftover materials from some fun creative projects. Feel free. This is really all about having fun and playing with your cards, because the truth to be said, the only way to really understand the cards and to gain as much information from them is to play, is to have fun with what's happening in your readings. And I understand that sometimes the readings are difficult and, the questions might be challenging, but perhaps we need to remember to take our serious problems a little bit less seriously. That will help us to gain perspective, gain some new insights into the situation. And cards can fantastically help us to kind of move out of that stuck perspective and, gain a better understanding of what's possible and which way to go next. I'll be honest with you guys, when I first started, I haven't done any of the cleansing. I literally didn't think it was legit. I thought it was some sort of woo stuff. So I did use the cards, but I didn't mince them at first. I didn't really have any ritual. It really came with time when I understood that it makes a difference. It makes the practice a little bit more sacred, a little bit more spiritual, and a lot more fun. It used to be that we had only 2 or 3 decks to choose from, like 100 years ago. And now there's thousands, right? So how do you choose? How do you connect with the deck that really is meant for you? It's simple. Which one looks pretty to you? Which one puts smile on your face? Do you like cats? Well, go find a deck that is themed with the cats all over. Maybe you need the guardians and like more spiritual connection. So there are angel tarot decks and mystery tarot decks and goddesses tarot decks. So you can have a lot of choices there if you are trying to connect with something a little bit more spiritual. The 2 most common decks that we all learned from originally is the Rider-Waite-Smith deck and also the Thoth Tarot deck. Both of these decks are kind of like the mother and the father of the modern tarot. There are a few that came before and after around this time when they were created, but those are 2 systems that are profoundly accurate, really amazing in their symbology, and they have so much to offer in terms of the vast library of knowledge. So how often do you need to read for yourself? Well, there is really no limit. You can ask your cards for guidance every single day. It's not a problem with that. You can just pull a card with the energies for the coming day or the coming week. I think the only thing I would avoid is trying to ask the same question and expecting a different answer. That would indicate that the answer we did receive is not exactly the one we were hoping for, but that is the beauty of tarot. The cards are always accurate. It's just that our interpretation might be off because we want to see a different outcome. And in that case, I would suggest just allowing the message to sink in and not judge the messenger. Do not judge the messenger. The cards are just trying to help you understand your state of consciousness, where you are at, what is going on, what are the pitfalls and possible dangers around you. And with every card that is difficult or challenging, there comes plethora of answers and suggestions how you can overcome the obstacle and moreover turn it into some sort of golden nugget, whether it's a golden nugget of wisdom or actionable idea. This is really a way to intuitively connect with the cards. So reading them often is great. Trying to find different answer for the same question, not so great. Pulling 1 card, 3 cards, or 7 cards, if you really want to go there, it's all fine. Just remember, you're going to need some time for the interpretation, and you're going to need some time to kind of like work with your card. So one thing I like to do, and I recommend to all of the newbies out there and everybody that likes to deepen their practice, is to pull a card first thing in the morning. It doesn't have to be any special ritual or anything like that. You can just grab it before you go to work, before you're off to your daily chores and routine, and then leave that card for the entire day somewhere near. And then before you go to bed, I want you to look at this card again. Has the meaning of the card been accurate? Have your interpretation been accurate or off? Have you given the card some meaning that has been way off, or maybe it was right on the spot? And if you can, write your thoughts in your journal, because this is going to build a practice that's going to help you understand your process and progress. You will be surprised how often the same card will show up over and over again. It will seem like the whole deck is made out of this one single card, or at least someone put a dozen in there. It is fun to see when has these cards showed up before, and what was the message and energy and feeling of that particular day. How do I know if I am interpreting the cards correctly? The interpretation is really a matter of your relationship with the cards. So how well do you know your cards intellectually is very important, yes, but how deeply do you trust what comes is also very important. The interpretation will come easier with time. So the practice is really important, and the interpretation will be sometimes off, and we all do it. And I sometimes have wrong interpretation, especially when reading cards for myself. This is probably the most difficult thing, to be unbiased in terms of your own readings. So once again, practice and joyful journaling about what is happening in your cards and in your life, and then comparing the notes. Can I read tarot for myself or for my friends? It's another common question. And of course, yes, by all means, do it. Start with reading to yourself. I know it's going to be sometimes awkward and difficult and even frustrating to understand the meaning of a card when so much is depending on the correct understanding of it, right? So reading tarot for yourself can be just as simple as a 3-card spread of past, present, future, or my favorite, mind, body, and spirit. And same with reading for others. Of course, as a professional reader, I would suggest a lot of readings. You do a lot of readings and a lot of practice. And so that's where your friends come really handy. Your friends are going to be your perfect guinea pigs, and they will not mind if you make a mistake or you're inaccurate, because this is for you to practice and for them to learn something about themselves, and for both of you having a lot of fun. So make tarot dates. Have your friends come over and just all pull cards and guess the meanings and compare the notes and compare the ideas. Look into your books and see how accurate or inaccurate you were, and have a good laugh at it, okay? Do I need psychic abilities to read cards? This is a very good question. Psychic abilities is something we all possess. Psychic abilities is something we all need to develop in order to be fluent at using psychic abilities. So your psychic abilities can show through your dreams or synchronicities, or some animals are showing up in your life over and over again, or you're just getting that gut feeling every once in a while, and then you're always correct about that feeling. To deepen your psychic abilities is like with everything else, it's a practice. It's like a muscle that you need to develop. So we all have muscles, just like psychic abilities. And then in order to make that muscle strong, you've got to develop it. So you've got to use your cards, do some dream work or journaling. Definitely meditation is very helpful at learning to hear that inner voice. Does someone have to gift me my first deck? I heard this question a lot, and I think it's all a bunch of nonsense. If I was going to wait for someone to gift me my first tarot deck, I might have been just as well still waiting, because no one would know I was into tarot cards unless I bought my first deck for myself. If someone has gifted you a tarot deck that you connect with, that's fantastic. But what if that deck is not really the one that speaks to you? Go search for another deck that will connect with you. So you can gift yourself a first deck. You can ask Santa to bring you a deck, whatever it works for you. But don't wait. If you really want to start working with tarot cards, don't wait. Do it. Go get yourself a really nice deck of cards. What spread should I use? I mentioned that 1 card a day is a great way to connect with your card. The 3 cards are also really fun, and you can use past, present, future, or mind, body, spirit spread. But you can also go a little bit deeper. And if you have the time and the energy, you can do a 10-card spread called the Celtic Cross. It is my beloved spread when doing a big reading for someone or for myself, because it really reveals where you're coming from, where you're going, what are your challenges, what is your homework, who is supporting you, and what to expect in general. Another common question is, can the cards be wrong? Well, no. The cards are never wrong, and you never pull a wrong card. The only thing that can be wrong is your interpretation. Interpretation really has to do with how ready you are for receiving the message, how open you are implementing changes that the message might bring, and how ready you are to listen to your intuition and allow yourself to really get in tune with the symbol or the archetype or the plant or the animal on your card. So what happens if the card falls out during shuffling, for example? So there are two schools. I've seen tarot readers religiously using these cards. Now, for me, I do not like using these cards, and I always put them back in the deck and I reshuffle. I just feel like I need to have more of a control for my readings, and I need to pull my cards by myself with my own intention. I don't accept these flying cards, these random cards. I just don't know what to think about them and what placement they're supposed to be at. I just don't do it. I don't use them. So it's really, really personal. How much fun does it bring you to use that extra card that falls out? Or is that irritating to you like it is to me? Use both systems and then apply the one that works better for you. Do the cards predict the future or just offer guidance? I love this question. Yeah, this is such a good question. Yes, both. Oh my God, yes. So they do predict the future. I mean, we do have a past, present, future spread, right? So obviously we're talking about something that's coming up. And sometimes they can predict the future in a dramatic way. So, for example, in the year of COVID, before it hit us, a lot of my readings would go well until the final card representing the possible outcome. Oftentimes it would have been like a death card or the tower. And I couldn't figure out at first, why are my clients all kind of about to fail with all of the projects and ideas? Soon this has become clear, right? So sometimes, yes, those cards can tell us about some global events, some things that are happening on a conscious level to entire humanity. But more often than that, they show our own personal challenges and states of consciousness that are either allowing or disallowing us to move forward with a project or idea, right? So they can, in a way, predict the future based on our energy. So let's say that we want to learn if a project can come to a conclusion, but deep inside we are not ready for finalizing this project, or maybe there is a health issue or financial issue, and the cards might say, well, this is not going to happen, or not yet, or not in your terms. So that would be very disappointing. But at the same time, they do offer guidance. So what can we do in order to remove the obstacles? So maybe for the projects to be done, we need to actually take care of our body first. Maybe we need a break. Maybe we need rest. Maybe we need sleep. Maybe we need to change perspective. We need to go for a few days vacation. Whatever is happening in our life, if it's blocked by something inside of us, we won't be able to fix it from the same place that, from the same level of consciousness that the problem was created. So if the cards are showing a block in the future, they are also offering a guidance for our present moment here and now. Sometimes we just have to wait. And this is also a wonderful feedback. Maybe not everything has to happen all at once. Sometimes the cards might say, you need to take action now. This is the moment. This is the opportunity. Maybe we've been struggling with procrastination, and now is the time to put things in the second, third, fourth, sixth gear. Cards are not telling us that something is doomed, that the future cannot be changed. Nothing is set in stone. I personally like to use the cards as a personal tool for guidance and for growth, and nothing is set in stone in my readings ever. So the good stuff can change too. If I say everything is going well and you just go home and relax instead of finishing on your projects, ideas, and so on, that will also change the future that I have predicted for you, right? So we need to be aware of the fact that this is a work in progress. Can tarot be dangerous? Can it attract negative energies? Tarot cannot attract anything. The only person that can attract anything is you. That means we cannot blame tool for our creation, our manifestation. We are fully in charge of what's coming to us. The tarot cannot itself make it happen. Any harm that can come is from another human being. So protection is always a really good idea. We use obsidians, we use shungite, we use selenite. We can do a lot of different things to protect ourselves from negative energy. And also elevating our own consciousness is really the best way to protect yourself from negativity, from psychic attacks. And in order to trust the tarot, we need to trust the fact that it's coming from a higher source. We animate the unanimated objects. And so tarot is like that. We give it a life of its own. But it's our expression, our energy, our communication, right? So just because there is a devil card in the deck, that doesn't mean you're going to attract devil to your life. This is actually a really weird, backward thinking. Sorry, guys, but number one, very quickly, if you look at the devil card, the people who are chained to the devil actually can take those chains off easily. They're choosing to stay in a state of victimhood. They want to overindulge. They want to feel sorry for themselves. And then they want someone to blame. So they blame the devil, right? But the devil in tarot cards actually reminds us of two things. Number one is our human nature. We need to watch out. We need to watch out at, our habits. With whom do we hang out? What documents do we sign? What deals do we make? Where do we have a level of mastery that makes us stand above the chains? And where do we allow ourselves to be chained? So duality, right? So we are reminded by the devil that we're humans, that need to pay attention, that we do make mistakes, and that we also need to get back into our own true nature to find the answers to the questions, to the problems. So the devil card is really all about becoming more in tune with the earthly energies, the forces that drive us. This is about knowing thyself. So people who think that pulling the devil card brings the devil into their life really just want to blame some external circumstances, and they're just afraid. They're afraid of digging deeper at meaning of life. The difference between the tarot and oracle card is such that the oracle cards can be used more like a divine guidance. I would say that they are maybe a little bit easier to interpret because the interpretation kind of comes with each oracle deck, and they can be more insightful, more uplifting. They can give us some immediate tools like journaling tools or meditations, and they come in all sorts of different variations. But you can find oracle decks that are, and then the, tarot is specific. It has to have 78 cards. It has to have all of the elemental attributes, the royal people. So they have to follow a certain schematics and meanings behind the cards. And even if there is some free interpretation these days, and with the tarot, just like with the oracle, you can find all sorts of different themed decks. So with the tarot, it's a little bit more complicated, in my opinion, because all decks are created beautifully, but some give us a little bit better depth and insight. With the tarot, we are definitely up for a personal journey of seeking the cards that are speaking to us. People with psychic intuition that might need a really simple cards, like very, very basic. I like a lot of symbols. I like a lot of colors. I like when there is just stuff going on. So thought is my to go. The yes and no question with Oracle can work better, but the yes and no question does not really work well with tarot cards. So the tarot cards cannot answer the yes and no question in a clear enough way for us to understand the meaning. It's better to bring the question to a next level and deepen the message so it's easier to interpret the outcome. So, for example, if we ask, does he loves me? Well, what if you get like 4 of Wands? Is that a yes, kind of, or is that kind of no? You are hoping for lover, for immediate confirmation, but it's just a weird ones. So that yes and no doesn't really gonna work here, right? But if you ask, what can I know about the state of my relationship with this guy right now? And you get the 4 of Wands, then things are changing. The Wands is the fire energy, so there is fire, passion, creative understanding. The 4 of Wands is all about changing things forward, moving forward, changing shape, changing yourself into someone new. So it's not a final transformation, but it's a part of transformation. Maybe the relationship is going to go into a deeper, more personal experience. Maybe this is going to be something you've been hoping for a long time. And it's now your turn to take it to the next level. Maybe you need to seek more passion in your relationship or more creative, things that you can do together to kind of see if this is what you want, if this is what you are craving, if this is working for both of you, right? So see, like this is giving us like tools and answers and possibilities. And I know it's not as simple as yes and no, but we can't really get that kind of clarity on anything, 50-50 anyway. And then if there is anything else that comes up, I just want you guys know that so the cards can be a really amazing tool if we allow ourselves to work with it properly and not use it as a bypassing of a deeper spiritual work. What I mean by that is it's better to pull one card and work with it until you figured out the nuts and bolts of that message, until you've applied its medicine, its guidance. Maybe you need to embrace something. Very often the cards that come up are not about some dark secrets or bad traits of our character that we are unwilling to accept, but rather the beauty and the light and the glow and the genius. That is most often what we are not allowing ourselves to accept. The cards will often show us the places we are not allowing to accept the divine love, to reach for these amazing solutions that are, available. The Star card, that's the card of the Age of Aquarius. We need to embrace our own light and stop waiting for someone out there to turn on the lights for us. We have to stand on the stage and turn on the lights and bring on the mic and just do it. And it's going to be scary, but it's going to be powerful. I mean, it's going to be powerful because it's going to be scary. The lover card, such a beautiful card. And, the lovers are about getting together with your lover or, your best friends and having some genius moment of understanding that there is a new way of doing things, that there is a better way of communicating, that we can overcome obstacles of duality and just coming together in our hearts, understanding we want the same thing. But the lovers these days they are not doing very well, right? Because we're at each other's throats. So the lovers is like we rise above the differences to create something amazing. New commerce, new law system, new healthcare, you name it. We can do it, but we've got to meet heart to heart and mind to mind. Pick a card, put it near your bed, have a journal or record your thoughts, have fun with it. And there are many different ways that you can understand your card, and you're smart. You guys figure this out. But by all means, if you want to get yourself into the world of tarot and start your creative, amazing journey into the tarot empire, or if you want to just deepen and reconnect with your cards, by all means, this is the time. We need this tool. It's evolving with us. It's changing with us. There's so much to discover, and I'm looking forward to the year 2026, seeing how it's going to turn out and what's going to come up in the cards for the next year reading. Stay tuned for that. And until I see you next time, remember to check the blog with all of the links and all of the information about the cards and a short article that will guide you there. And I will see you very soon. Bye.